Hi everyone. I hope you can see me around Tilly's big old butt. That's my kitty. Come here, kitty. You want to say hi? Can I lure you with this Captain Kirk? This Cat-tin Kirk? See what I did there? Yeah, I actually sprayed this thing with catnip because I thought it would be hilarious to have the cats enjoy it. But yeah, he's pretty cute. I got him at GeekoCon. I'll have to research who the vendor was. So I wanted to say there recently on Facebook, I noticed there was a birthday for a singer-songwriter I like named Linda Allen. I wanted to sing a song of hers, but I wanted to wait until I wasn't sick anymore because as much as I enjoy singing with a cold, I don't think that it produces like the most amazing sounding voice. Well, okay, there's a sweet spot where you're like at the tail end of your cold and for some reason your voice is like magical. I think Friends did a whole episode of where Phoebe was in what this whole plot in Friends. And so but that said, I plan to send this video to Linda Allen for her birthday, and I want her to hear me cover her song in the best of circumstances. So I will sing that for you today because I have been feeling a lot better. So some of you may know I'm a science fiction author. I've written a lot of time travel novels, and I feel like there's something about the time travel situation where you have to put your mind in the like circumstances that people had, like that people lived through. So Linda Allen wrote this amazing a cappella song called Rosie the Riveter Revisited. And that famous poster of Rosie the Riveter, we can do it. It was all about women who were joining the industrial workforce because the men had gone off to war. And so they had to pitch in with building and with doing all of this like heavy mechanical work that had always been reserved for men before. But when the men came back home, the women were, they were dismissed from these positions. And what like a swirl of emotions you must feel. Like, would you feel sad and used, angry? Would you be happy or relieved? Would your feelings be different if the war ended and you had people returning to you versus the war ended and everyone you loved who went to war died? I know it's a bummer, right? But the thing is, this really affected a lot of women's lives, and I'm sure there's no one, I'm sure every woman felt differently about how it went and how it was handled. But I think that one interesting detail of this song as well is that something that really did happen is that women would carve their names into the metal, and it would just be a way of saying I was here. And it would be like it was this, when you can't do anything else, at least you can leave your mark. So just to switch gears for a moment, I do want to acknowledge that my 100th video is going to come up soon, and I have some ideas for it, but I guess I had a better segue for this, and now I've completely forgotten what the segue was. I mean, I suppose I could have been like, yeah, these women, they carved their name in the metal to make on their mark. And the way I try to make my mark is by doing 100 videos on YouTube in 2019. And I'm like, no, because that's like not a cool thing for me to say because it's a totally different situation. It's a very like, I live in 2019. I have a lot more going for me and for my gender than I would have in the 40s. The 1940s were not a great time to be a woman. It's also not a great time to be a woman right now, to be clear. But I was going to say for different reasons. Actually, there are a lot of the same reasons. There's still a lot of sexism, and what's annoying is that people think that sexism has gone away and it hasn't. So it's just kind of gone underground. Or it's people have just become dismissive, like, no, nobody's sexist anymore. Like, well, they are sexist, you're just not seeing it. Anyway, that's a whole soapbox. But I guess what I wanted to say is, since we are now on, I think, my 95th video, I wanted to give you all a chance to make any suggestions for what you might like to see in the 100th video, or beyond. You know, what do you want to see me do with my video now that I'm about to hit 100 videos? Like, what should I be doing? I have not been doing call to actions. What that is would be to ask people to comment or like or subscribe. I don't say like or subscribe, and that's weird because everyone else says it, and there's a reason to say it. If I don't get more subscribers, my channel cannot be monetized, and I know that people don't like people to sell out, but I'm just not good at getting more subscribers. I know a lot of y'all are out there just watching, and I think that's great too. I this is yeah. I love having this video, the ability, the platform, the ability to sing and talk about my life and show you my weird cats and have that just be it's sort of like having a video diary. So even if all that my channel is just this video diary and a chance for me to sing and to unwind and to like process things that happen and put my day into context, that alone is wonderful. But yeah, it would be great to one day just be able to live off of doing content. So yeah, that said, I guess I've gone a little bit off, gotten away from the plot. So for Linda Allen's birthday, and yes, it is a little bit late, I want to make sure I cover this song called Rosie the Riveter Revisited. My strong right arm built the ship that sailed to war. My strong right arm built the ship, and what was that all for? In 1941, the war had just begun. Jim was so young, but was soon off to hold a gun. I was 19, our child was only 3, when the paper said the shipyards needed me. I moved to Bremerton in 1942. I learned to weld. I was the best one on our crew. The work was hard. The heat would burn my lungs all day. But when the paycheck came, we girls would feel okay. In 1943, in August, 8 a.m., I'd not been feeling well. My mind was filled with Jim. There was a knock. A man in uniform stood there. He said my Jim was dead. I hadn't seen him in 2 years. In 1945, the war had come to an end. And on that very day, the big boss, he came in. He smiled and said, "My girls, the boys are coming home. You've earned a rest. Go home. Your work here now is done." Picked up a scrap of metal and I carved my name full bore, so my child would know I was a welder in the war. No place to go. I was a widow with a child, so I waitressed and I cooked and I married in a while. Sometimes I see that scrap with my name carved in so deep, and I recall the day the boss told me to leave. How I felt like some old rag they'd tossed aside, as useless as my patriotic pride.